All right, we'll move on to the next story. Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has accused the electoral body INEC of not uploading the presidential election outcome on its result viewing portal as a ploy to manipulate electoral results. And the PDP Atiku Abubakar says he has consistently contested presidential elections because of his drug-free record. Both men were responding to preliminary objections of both INEC and the APC before the election petition hearing. Arise correspondent Godfrey Eshemogai reports.
There is an anxious wait for the start of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal hearing. But behind the scenes, there's heightened frenzy as lawyers involved exchange court documents. Top contenders Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) have been very active in the weeks following the hugely controversial elections in their quest to cancel the electoral victory of Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The teaming supporters of the Labour Party, also known as the Obedients, have repeatedly insisted that the party was rigged out of the presidential race. They maintain that their choice candidate, Peter Obi, scored majority of the lawful votes cast. And in his reply to the preliminary objection of INEC, Obi says he will show that the failure to upload the presidential election results to the result viewing portal or IREV using the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS as required by law was a ploy by the electoral body to manipulate the actual results of the election. The Labour Party presidential candidate insists he won the election. He adds that the actual result of the election shows that Tinubu neither won the highest number of lawful votes cast nor met the constitutional requirement, including securing 25% of the votes cast in the Federal Capital Territory to be entitled to be declared as winner of the presidential election. Obi says it is embarrassing that INEC has assumed the role of a contestant in an election it conducted as an umpire by filing a preliminary objection challenging the Labour Party's petition. He says the neutrality of the electoral umpire should be called to question. On the part of Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, he says there is no issue of alleged drug use tainting his person, adding he has never had any controversy surrounding his age, circumstances of his birth, and other controversial subjects. This, Atiku stated in his reply to Tinubu's notice of preliminary objection against his petition challenging the outcome of the February 25th presidential election. Atiku says Tinubu has demonstrated inconsistency as to his actual date of birth, the secondary schools he attended, his state of origin, gender, actual name, certificates evidencing universities attended, and the Guinean citizenship controversy. In all, there are 5 petitions seeking to cancel the electoral victory of Bola Tinubu in the presidential election. Godfrey Eshemogai, Arise News.
Thank you, Godfrey Eshemogai, for that report. Dr. Batu?
Well, looks like 2 issues there. The first one, the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi and his party, filing a petition against the notice of preliminary objection that had been earlier filed by INEC, and insisting that the position in AG Federation versus Abubakar is that, look, INEC must maintain a position of neutrality. Well, the matter here is that in the petition filed by the Labour Party, INEC was made the first respondent. And some of the relief sought by the Labour Party deal directly with the conduct of the election and INEC's performance. And INEC having been joined as first respondent, on the basis of that, filed a notice of preliminary objection, in which they were saying simply, through their counsel, Abubakar Mahmood, SAN, that the reliefs being sought by the Labour Party and Mr. Peter Obi were not grantable, to the extent that they claim, that the petition by the Labour Party, to borrow some of their words, was, vague, nebulous, academic, hypothetical. Those were the kind of things, that Mahmoud SAN was saying in that notice of preliminary objection. But the matter having now gone to court, it is for the court, to determine all of this. But INEC, some people have raised the issue that maybe INEC should not even be joined in many of these suits. But if the Labour Party is saying that, one, there were irregularities in the election, including the uploading of results to IREB. 2, that the person declared as president-elect, the candidate of the APC, did not score the majority of total votes cast in that election and did not meet the conditions for winning. 3, that double nomination could be established in the case of the vice presidential candidate of the party. 4, they also raised questions about qualification and even said that both Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, his running mate, should be disqualified of having not met the criteria for participating in that election. And what are the reliefs that they're seeking? That, look, the election result should be declared in favor of the Labour Party. So, hence, INEC stepped in and filed that notice of preliminary objection. But now there has been another petition by the Labour Party to that notice of preliminary objection. But it's not for us here to issue any judgment. That's the job of the court. The court will do its job. As for the altercation between Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who in fact in his own petition, his cross-petition, had pointed out that, Atiku Abubakar is a consistent loser of elections. And then, of course, now you have the candidate of the People's Democratic Party responding. But anyway, on both sides, it's politics they're playing. Is the integrity of that February 25 election and the various issues that have been raised for determination by the tribunal, and maybe subsequently, the APS court, by all the parties involved. So the court is not going to be arguing over whether you once had to account for $400,000, or you once somebody once said they saw you with a Guinean passport. The court will deal with the issues for determination before it, and that should be left to the courts to decide.
I think the matters up for determination with the court are crystal clear. What is it? The process that heralded the election. The process in tandem what was said will be done before. The fact that INEC could make its own laws based on a new proviso in the national constitution. And the fact that a lot of people say, and to a large extent, the parties filing in court said most of those processes were violated. But it is the court that will determine all of that. And I think also the substantive issue will be, the use of technology in our processes. The fact that INEC talked about a glitch, the fact that people are saying otherwise, especially those that are in court now are saying otherwise. The court will determine all of that. But one thing is certain, in fact, some people have said, the case should be publicized and things like that, is that any decision made by the judiciary, will go a long way in shaping our democracy. And that's why we should be careful in this country. I'd like to call on all the players here, to calm things down, make the substance of your argument be logical enough, and let us stop the breakback and the sentiment and the uncalled for abuses and things like that in all of this. Because you see, the greatest thing about us, what really binds all of us together, is the fact that 1, we're all Nigerians. 2, that we have decided to be governed in a democratic way, which should be, the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But to a large extent, in our democracy, we've been having discordant tunes because a lot of people feel the people have not been represented. And that's why you can see voter apathy in our electioneering process. And that's why you can see the fact that a lot of Nigerians feel disgruntled and they're beginning to feel indifferent towards the Nigerian state. And that's why I beg politicians, please try to feel the pulse of the people. Understand what is going on. People are not too happy. And because you have a group of people that are happy with you, doesn't mean the generality of people are happy. I know you will make the argument, yes, Rufai, you can't please everybody. Yes, you cannot please everybody. But you must be seen as fair to all. And that's what anybody that is elected president should be able to do for the furtherance of this country and the democratic process. In a hurry, we forget that we fought for this democracy, and a lot of people lost their life and laid down their life for this democracy. And indeed, it didn't come on a platter. So whatever the court will rule will further the cause of democracy in this country. But after all is said and done, the path to unity must be done with a level of consolidation and an understanding that Nigeria is bigger than anybody. And nobody is more Nigerian than anybody. I pray hearts will heal in this country, but hearts will only heal when justice is.
Well, about $1.2 million has been earmarked for the purchase of 40 buses. Well, I don't think anybody should make any big capital out of the amount. What is important is to get those buses on the ground and to get the warring generals to provide a safe corridor. And we have to move swiftly, because already we have reports that there is scarcity of petrol now as a result of the crisis in Sudan. There is also a problem with internet access. So communication will be very important. So communication, cooperation, coordination, and all the agencies of government working with other countries, that should give us hope. The only thing I didn't hear the minister referring to is the offer by the chairman of Air Peace to work together with the Nigerian government to start evacuation by tomorrow. Mr. Allen Oyema was on this program yesterday, and he said he's ready, he's willing, he's prepared to work together with the Nigerian government to evacuate our people who are there at no cost to the Nigerian government, free of charge. So this is where we are with regard to the situation in Sudan. But more importantly, there will be need for the international community to continue to engage the two warring generals to ensure that there is, conflict resolution and that there is peace in Sudan and that lives are not wasted, in the process. Every country is fleeing Sudan. Sudan has practically become a war zone, which is very unfortunate, considering what that country has been going through since 2019, since the exit of Omar al-Bashir, after whom there is now such a terrible deluge in that country. Third largest country in Africa with a lot of landmass. So those buses that will be going, to evacuate the Nigeria as well, they have quite some distance to travel, going northwards or going towards the east. We're told that some buses have already arrived on Tuesday. Maybe more will arrive today. And one or two papers this morning has been saying that the Nigerian students, they are anxious that the evacuation should begin immediately. Of course, it's the same concern they have in the UK, where hundreds of thousands, hundreds of British nationals have been evacuated, and yet the public is saying there are more British nationals in Sudan who should be evacuated. So there is a note of urgency to this evacuation task that now faces many countries as a result of the crisis in Sudan.
Right. A lot has to be said as regards the evacuation. Better late than never, but the question is, when are we going to learn how to do things properly next time? Because if you look at cases in the past, we have always waited till last minute like that, and it's always the intervention of well-meaning Nigerians like Allen Oyema of Air Peace that saves the day for us. We remember the case with South Africa. We remember other cases, which is quite very sad for this country. A lot of people are making capital out of the $1.2 million for spent on the evacuation because of the trust deficit in government, because we've seen how this plays out one too many times. Couple of months down the line now, you start seeing that dirty lenience being washed in public as regards to how money XYZ exchange hands and all of that. But hey, no amount is too much to save Nigerian life, as long as we can get them out there. But the question is, how quick is the logistics happening? In fact, some students in Sudan have raised concerns that the evacuation is not quick enough. So if some buses are in there, how quick are they going to be able to get to the border? I'm happy I addressed the fact that he has been able to reach out to his Ethiopian counterpart to be able to ensure easy access, which is quite good. Also, the fact that Saudi Arabia has come to the rescue of some of the Nigerians, they've via the sea, taking them to Saudi Arabia, helped them out. But a lot still has to be done, even despite the fact that over 100 UK citizens came into UK yesterday through the Stansted Airport. The first batch of evacuees coming out of Sudan. It was still a big deal in Prime Minister's question time yesterday. That's to show the importance of the issue and for the fact that, we have not done a lot better as regards this. But I'm happy that no life has been lost, like they said out there. It's how we can quickly begin the evacuation, how we can learn lessons. The problem with Nigeria is this. We don't learn lessons from anything whatsoever. We keep repeating one mistake over and over and over again. That's why we have building collapse too many times in this country. And when I say it will happen again, people look at me like a prophet of doom, but I'm not. It's because we don't learn lessons and things happen again. The same shambolic way at which we executed evacuations in the past is the same way. And we also will now rest and rely on the goodwill of many other well-meaning Nigerians, and that's always the case. The chairman of FPCS said they've been in liaison with NEMA, with the ministry, so hopefully those airliftings should start by Friday. Let's see. And we're waiting for the very first batch of those that will be airlifted back. You know, this was how the same way we raised concerns in the Ukraine crisis, but better late than never. I hope we'll learn. This crisis pretty much since the 8th of April had been on, and we left it for too long before we started something. In Sudan have raised concerns that the evacuation is not quick enough. So if some buses are in there, how quick are they going to be able to get to the border? I'm happy I addressed the fact that he has been able to reach out to his Ethiopian counterpart to be able to ensure easy access, which is quite good. Also, the fact that Saudi Arabia has come to the rescue of some of the Nigerians, you know, they've via the sea, taking them to Saudi Arabia, helped them out. But a lot still has to be done, even despite the fact that over 100 UK citizens came into UK yesterday through the Stansted Airport. You know, the first batch of evacuees coming out of Sudan. It was still a big deal in Prime Minister's question time yesterday. That's to show the importance of the issue and for the fact that, you know, we have not done a lot better as regards this. But I'm happy that no life has been lost, like they said out there. It's how we can quickly begin the evacuation, how we can learn lessons. You know, the problem with Nigeria is this. We don't learn lessons from anything whatsoever. We keep repeating one mistake over and over and over again. That's why we have building collapse too many times in this country. And when I say it will happen again, people look at me like a prophet of doom, but I'm not. It's because we don't learn lessons and things happen again. The same shambolic way at which we executed evacuations in the past is the same way. And we also will now rest and rely on the goodwill of many other well-meaning Nigerians, and that's always the case. The chairman of FPCS said they've been in liaison with NEMA, with the ministry, so hopefully those airliftings should start by Friday. Let's see. And we're waiting for the very first batch of those that will be airlifted back. You know, this was how the same way we raised concerns in the Ukraine crisis, but better late than never. I hope we'll learn. This crisis pretty much since the 8th of April had been on, and we left it for too long before we started something.
Nigeria, una be joke. Una be joke. Now this one, Peter Obi one can stop. All this wuru, all this wara, all these things we be saying don't make sense. 1.2 million wanna take borrow boss. Yes, we know those lives are important, but Nigerians want the truth, and that is why they need a change of government. I believe, say God, we sit down for throne, all these things, so they do, say they want to swearing in, they want the inauguration on the 29th. God has sit on the throne. If he's now he will say Obi go enter, he go enter. That 29th of May, you know, go get it. There is nothing God cannot do. I believe in him so much because all these things, my people, it get to stop. Nigeria needs the truth in everything. You use Wayote enter office, then you say you want to repair Nigeria. I don't want it possible. My people, this one a Bod TV. I go still now again. Bye bye.